Being a fiery planet, Mars governs leadership or enterprises because you need a passion. So the taste of the things are associated with the planets. So how do we use this in the horoscope? As we know, second house is the house of eating habits. Moon and Mercury are the Vaisyas. That means they are the traders. They have the trading abilities. They have that maneuverability with which they can change the results. Hello everyone, welcome to ISL Astro. So today we will discuss about the basic approach to the planets and what are the basic characteristics of the planet and how do we use it in the predictions. So as we know, there are 7 grahas, that means 7 planets in the Vedic astrology: Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus and Saturn. And there are 2 shadow planets as well. These are basically the mathematical points at which the orbit of the moon around the earth cuts the orbit of the earth around the sun. So one point that is on the north node is called Rahu, and the same opposite point is called Ketu. In the Hindu astrology, we consider the whole zodiac as the aura of Lord Vishnu, and whereas the signs, that 12 parts we have divided into, are the limbs of that Lord Vishnu. Whereas the planets that are placed in those 12 signs represent the avatars, that mean incarnations of the Lord Vishnu. We'll see in the next slide listed that which incarnation come from which planet. So first of all, the Matsya Avatara, that means the avatar of the fish, that comes from Ketu. Then Kurma Avatara, tortoise, come from Saturn. Varaha Avatara come from Rahu. Then Narasimha Avatara come from Mars. Vamana Avatara come from Jupiter. Parasurama come from Venus. And then Rama Avatara are associated with Sun. Krishna Avatara associated with Moon. And then in the last, Buddha came from Mercury. So that's how we associate these avatars with the planets. And there are 2 essences in the world. One is Jivamsa, that is living essence, and then there is a Paramatma Amsa, that means absolute and supreme essence. So planets are actually the manifestation of different aspects of these essences. So all these incarnations that came into being with a significant percentage of Paramatma Amsa, then the living essence. Whereas other living beings that are born has a significant percentage of Jivamsa and very little percentage of Paramatma Amsa. That's why they are less evolved as compared to the incarnations of the Lord Vishnu. So that's why we look up to them, because those incarnations had more significant percentage of Paramatma Amsa, that means supreme essence in them. So next we will discuss the main governance of the planets. So in Hindu astrology, Sun governs the soul and Moon governs mind, whereas Mars shows the strength in you and Mercury shows your speaking abilities, that means your communications, whereas Jupiter gives you knowledge and happiness, and Venus governs the potency in one's life. Saturn is the karka of grief. These are the main governance. So next we will discuss about the gender of the planet. So Sun, Mars, Jupiter are considered male, whereas Moon, Venus are considered female. Saturn and Mercury are also female. So this information we can use in the prediction of the children's sex based on one's chart. For example, if house ruling the first child is associated with Jupiter, Mars and Mercury, we may predict a son. If it is influenced by Moon and Mercury, we may predict a daughter. However, there are so many other factors as well that might be playing out in the chart. So we will also see the benefics and malefics nature of the planet. So Jupiter and Venus are naturally benefics, whereas Mercury becomes a natural benefic when it is alone or with more natural benefics. With the Mercury, it's always conditional. If it is sitting with the other planets that are Sun, Mars, Rahu and Ketu, those are considered natural malefics. So then it also plays as a natural malefic. Whereas Moon, if it is waxing, that means it's in the Shukla Paksha, those 15 days. If you are born in those 15 days of Shukla Paksha, then it acts as a natural benefic in your chart. If you are born in the time of waning moon, that means Krishna Paksha, then moon would not be that much favorable in your chart. And if it is placed with other malefics, then definitely emotionally it could give you troubles. So next we will discuss the 5 elements. So every planet and every sign in the Vedic astrology is associated to these 5 elements, and it gives a significant clues when we interpret the horoscope and find out which element is playing out. We know there are 5 elements. First one is fiery, then earthy, airy, ethery element, and then the watery element. The planet Mars and Sun both have fiery nature, so both are significantly associated with fiery element in the Vedic astrology. And then Mercury is earthy element. We know Mercury represents logic, represent arguments. You should have a strong arguments to pursue a discussion. So that logic is given by Mercury, and that earthy element plays an important role in that logic. So then Saturn is a airy planet, so it is ruled by an airy element. We know Saturn is a cold planet, and so air is all about communication. So when it comes to the airy element related to Saturn, we know if Saturn is not well placed, these people will definitely get troubles in communication, or they are not good at communication. Then the next planet is Jupiter, which is Akasha Tattva, that means ethery element. So what does ether element do? Ether element binds everything, keeps the other 4 elements together. It plays very important role. So that's how Jupiter signifies knowledge, wisdom. If you have a good knowledge and wisdom, you will definitely understand other person's perspective and you can take the decisions more easily. Then the last tattva is Jal tattva, which planets associated with this are Venus and Moon. So Venus and Moon are both related to emotions. Venus is more related to relations, but relations cannot be pursued well without emotions. So emotion flows well with the Jal tattva. So these are the basic nature of these planets. So being a fiery planet, Mars governs leadership or enterprises, because you need a passion and like a go-getter ability that comes from an Agni or fiery element. Then being an earthy element, Mercury governs memory, your logical abilities, as we have discussed before. And then being an airy planet, Saturn rules free spirit, like a wandering ability as well. If it is not well placed, you might be wandering without any reasons. Then in a watery element, Venus governs imagination and your creative abilities, because creativity has to flow, and that is governed by Jala Tattva. In an ethery element, Jupiter governs wisdom, intelligence, your ability to perceive the knowledge. So these are the basic natures of the planets. So the next one we'll discuss about the planet association with the Varnas. We know there are 4 Varnas, that means 4 classes. The first one is Brahmanas, then Kshatriyas, then Vaishyas, then Sudras. So in modern context, we can say the Brahmanas are the learned ones, then Kshatriyas are the warriors, Vaishyas are the traders, Sudras are the worker class people. Who are the Brahmanas? Brahmanas are the learning and the intelligent class, you would say. Their forte is to learn all the time, to acquire knowledge or to become wiser every day. Then for the second class, that is the warrior class, bravery is their forte. So they have the courage to stand up for what is right. Whereas traders are like, they know how to get along with others. So they do businesses because they can make better deals with the people. So that's how the classes can be defined. The last one, the working class, their forte is to do the hard work. The only thing they know well is how to work hard, how to put efforts. So they will get the results accordingly. So this is like a basic nature of the class, whoever is associated. So we'll talk about the planets. So Jupiter and Venus are Brahmanas, provide you the wisdom and the knowledge, whereas Jupiter gives you the knowledge or perception to acquire a knowledge, and Venus is creativity, how to do the things in a different way or in a smarter way. Then Sun and Mars are Kshatriyas. They are like a warriors. So all the people who are kings or who can go in the front and fight for their kings, they all are the warrior class people, whereas Brahmanas could be the ministers to those kings. So then Moon and Mercury are the Vaisyas. That means they are the traders. They have the trading abilities. They have that maneuverability with which they can change the results according to their need. So that's how they are traders. So then the last planet is Saturn, which is associated with Sudra class. That means the worker class. So we know Saturn is a hard task master. So if you don't put much efforts and want to get results from Saturn, it won't happen. The Saturn will only give you results if you gonna work hard in that particular aspect of the life, wherever Saturn is affecting in your chart. Now the next one is planets and the gunas. As we know, there are 3 gunas. There is a triplicity principle related to the gunas. So we have Sattvic gun, Rajasic gun and Tamasic gun. So Sattva guna means purity and the state of being true, whereas Rajoguna is the passion to get the things done. However, there could be some selfishness involved, or there could be some impurity involved in that guna. The third one is tamas. So tamas is totally the ego or the selfishness in you. That is all tamasic abilities. Sattvic person will always help others without expecting back anything, whereas Rajasic people will do well but will definitely expect something in return as well, whereas Tamasic people, they hardly do well for others. They do the things for their selfish motivations. So the Sun, Moon and Jupiter are known as Sattvic planets. Mercury and Venus are Rajasic planets, and Mars and Saturn are Tamasic planets. So Sattva gun simply means the purity and truthfulness in someone's thoughts and action, whereas Rajoguna shows some passion, energy, but somewhere impurity in the thoughts and action, whereas Tamoguna describes the dark, mean and depraved spirit of someone in their thoughts and actions. So that's how you can relate these gunas with the planets, and holistically we can see which planet influence your which house, and then the results would come out. For example, if your ascendant lord is Venus and it is sitting in a Rashi which is also a Rajasic Rashi, for example Taurus, if Venus is sitting in Taurus only, that means your basic nature is Rajasic. Somehow you do good things for others, but there is always selfishness. You always look for profit, that why would I do the things if there is no profit for me? If Jupiter is sitting in your ascendant, or your ascendant lord is Jupiter, then you have somehow a Sattvic ability. You do things for others and don't expect anything in return. But if Jupiter is placed in a Rajasic Rashi or a Tamasic Rashi, so then somehow results get mixed. We know that Sattvic signs are Cancer, Leo, Sagittarius and Pisces, whereas the Rajasic signs are Aries, Taurus, Libra and Scorpio, and Tamasic signs are Gemini, Virgo, Capricorn and Aquarius. So you will see the placement of planets in these signs will alter the results accordingly. So the next one is Dhatus. We know our body is made up of 5 elements and 7 Dhatus. So what are those 7 Dhatus? Those are bones, blood, bone marrow, skin, fat, muscles, and our reproductive fluids. So these are the 7 dhatus which are very, very important to run the human system effectively. Which planet rules which dhatu? So Sun rules bones in the human body, whereas Moon rules blood. Mars rules the bone marrow, whereas Mercury rules the skin. Jupiter rules fat, Venus rules semen, or you can say reproductive fluids, and Saturn rules the muscles. So how do we use this information of planets associated with dhatus? So basically, if your sun is afflicted in the chart, then you can say that the person might have a problem with the bones, of bone related issues could happen. For example, if Sun Mahadasha is going on and Sun is afflicted in the chart, not strong, then it definitely would be going through the bones related issues. Similarly, if Moon is very weak or having malefic aspects or associated with malefics, then definitely blood related things could be the issues in the body. So that's how we can use the planets association with the dhatus. So the next one we'll discuss about the taste, how the taste of the things are associated with the planets. So first of all, sun governs the pungent taste. Pungent taste is like very sharp in smell. So what things come under pungent taste could be onion, ginger and pepper, or similar to these vegetables. So then moon governs saline taste, that is more closely related to the salt. For example, sea salt, rock salt, all these are taste related to the moon. Then Mars is related to the bitter taste. For example, bitter melon that we call Karela. Then there is a dandelion root or neem leaves are governed by Mars. Then Mercury governs the mixed taste, as the nature of the Mercury is kind of mix in every other thing, so it does not specifically govern any particular classification of the taste. Then Jupiter governs the sweetness. For example, sugar, dates, honey. So all these things are related to Jupiter. Then Venus governs the sour taste. What are the sour tastes? For example, the taste of lemon, tamarind, all these things are related to Venus. Then Saturn governs the astringent taste. Astringent taste is like little bit sweet and little bit sour. So it's a mixture. Pomegranate is the best example for the astringent taste. So things like that is associated to the Saturn in terms of the taste. So how do we use this in the horoscope? As we know, second house is the house of eating habits, or what is your preference in the food. All the food habits comes in the second house. So if a particular planet influence this second house or is associated closely with the second house, you can understand what would be the favorite taste of that person in the horoscope. For example, if Jupiter is associated with the second house or sitting in the second house, then it is very much evident that that person would be happy to eat sweet meals all the time. If you put any sweet item in front of them, they would not think twice to eat that. So that's how we can see the preference of the food. And the other thing we can use this information is to avoid some taste which are likely to bring disease in your body. And sixth house is the house of diseases, or the house of discipline as well. So if you keep discipline in your food eating, then definitely you will keep the diseases away from your body. For example, if someone is running a dasha or antardasha of the sign containing the moon as per Shula dasha, because Shula dasha we use it for suffering. If moon is placed in that sign, then definitely moon related problems could be the issues. So moon can give us problems related to the blood. So eating too much salty food during that period may result in high blood pressure or other blood related issues as well. So we can cut down on those foods and keep the diseases away. So similarly, one should cut down the sugar as well during a period in which Jupiter related troubles are indicated. Otherwise, one can develop too much fat or get other Jupiter related problems as well. For example, diabetes. So that's how you can use this information and find out which things you need to avoid and which you can eat in your daily routine or during that particular dasha. Alright, so next one is the planetary strengths. So planetary strengths means some planets are comfortable and feel strong in the particular direction as well as particular time period. So we'll discuss that. So Mercury and Jupiter are very much strong in the eastern direction, or if they are in the first house, that is your Lagna, then they feel very strong. Sun and Mars are strong in the southern direction. So if we see the horoscope, the 10th house represents the south direction. So if they are placed in the 10th house, so that means they are very strong in the chart as per the direction. So we also call it directional strength. Then Moon and Venus are strong in the northern direction. That is exactly opposite to the 10th house, which is the 4th house. And Saturn is strong in the west. That is the 7th house. So these are also called the Digbalas. So Dig means direction, Bala means strength. So that means the strength associated with the direction. So we can also utilize this information to find out which direction is associated with your particular house. For example, if 10th house is associated with a particular planet, for example Jupiter, then we can analyze the direction in which person could get a job as well. Now we're talking about day and night time. So Moon, Mars and Saturn are very strong in the night time, whereas Sun, Jupiter and Venus are strong in the daytime. Mercury is like neutral in both the times, so it could give you results in both the times. And the other thing is, if we associate it with the Paksha, so then natural malefics are very much strong in the Krishna Paksha. When moon is waning, those 15 days, natural malefics are very strong. And in the Shukla Paksha, natural benefics are very strong. So next one is Ayana. We know there are 2 Ayanas in a year, that means a 6-month period. So when Sun transit from Capricorn to Gemini, we call it Uttara Ayana, that means North Ayana. And when Sun transits from Cancer to Sagittarius, that is Dakshina Ayana. All the malefics are very much strong in the Dakshina Ayana, and all the benefics are very strong in the Uttara Ayana. So the next one is planetary dignities. So there are some signs where planets feel exalted. That means they are very much comfortable in that house, and we call it a Ucha Sthana for that planet. And there are some signs where they feel debilitated. That means they feel very low in that sign. We call it a Nicha Sthana for that planet. And there is one sign, it's called a Mool Trikona for a planet, which is like one of the 2 Rashis that are owned by that particular planet. So Mool Trikona is like an office where someone is able to do its official task very comfortably. So that means they also feel strong in that house. Planet is said to be very much strong in its own Rashi or its exaltation Rashi or Mula Trikona. You will see a table where you will see the planets and its exaltation Rashi or a particular degrees at which planet is associated to the exaltation point as well as the debilitation point, and also the Mool Trikona Rashi you will see in the last column. We have also discussed this, that why a planet feels comfortable or strong in the particular Rashi when we had a discussion on signs. So the first one, I'll give you an example. The rest you can watch the video if you want more details about all the planets. So for example, Sun is exalted in Aries and debilitated in Libra, whereas Leo is its Mool Trikona sign. So why Sun is exalted in Aries? Aries is a fiery sign which shows authority, getting decisions on their own. So Sun is also a fiery planet, and Sun is very much independent to make decisions on its own. So Sun get a good ground when it is placed in the Aries to make the right decisions with their own instincts and without involving anyone else. In opposite to this, Libra, where it is debilitated. So Libra is a sign of diplomacy, where you need to go along with the people, because Libra is all about diplomacy, your relations with the people, your trading abilities. So how do you make a deal with the people? So all these qualities comes in Libra, and Sun is not comfortable when it comes to make a deal with others and when it needs to involve other people in the decision making. Sun likes to make decision on its own and with the authority. So that's why Sun feels very much uncomfortable in the sign of Libra. So that's how other planets are also related to these particular degrees and have a particular reason why they are strong or they feel weak in the particular sign. So I'll also give you the example of the Mool Trikona sign. For example, Mercury is an intellectual planet and significator of communications. So intelligent communication is the most comfortable activity for the Mercury. So his home is intellectual Gemini, which shows communications, whereas the intelligent debates and arguments are the formal jobs of Mercury. And Virgo is the house where Virgo is the 6th house of the natural zodiac, and it shows arguments, debates, and that's why that particular sign is the Mool Trikona for Mercury. That is like an office for the Mercury where he will fulfill the duties assigned to him. Now the last topic is planetary relationships. For every planet there are friends and enemies, And there are planets with which a particular planet feel comfortable to talk to or to do the things for that planet. It's similarly like human beings. With some people we are very much friends, but with others we don't talk too much, or for some people sometimes we do not like at all. So it should not happen though, but yeah, it happens it's a natural instinct of the human being. So how do we find the friends and enemies? So if you take the Mool Trikona sign of the planet and then lord of that particular sign, wherever it is exalted, it becomes a friend for that particular planet. So you'll see the table and find out which planet is more friends with the other planet and neutral for some planet, and then enemies to the particular planet. For example, Sun is very much friends with Moon, Mars and Jupiter, whereas Mercury gives a neutral effect and it is not comfortable sitting with Venus and Saturn because their agendas are very much different. Venus wants to do the things with the fun, creativity, whereas Sun wants to get the things done straight away without any tantrums and stuff. Whereas Venus like to do the things in its own mood, or with some fun. And Saturn is sluggish, it is very slow, it doesn't want to do the things straight away, it takes its own time. But wherever Sun is like a go-getter, it wants to get the things done as quickly as possible. So that's why their agendas are very much different. That's why they are like enemy to each other. So that's how other planets have similar relationships. So then there is also another thing, we call it a Tatakala relationship, that is a temporary relationships. So how do you find out? Because sometimes some planets are enemy to each other, but they behave like they're friends for some particular time. So if planets occupying the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 10th, 11th and 12th sign counted from that particular sign where the planet is placed, then those planets are temporary friends to each other. For example, if Sun is sitting in Aries and Saturn is sitting in Taurus, so then they are like a temporary friends to each other because Saturn is in the 2nd house from the Sun. Or if Saturn is placed in the Capricorn, then also it will become a temporary friend to Sun. That was all for the basics of planet. So if you don't understand anything or if you have any comments, you can put it in the comment section. And if you like the video, please subscribe the channel and tap the bell icon so that you get updates from my videos, and I will also get a motivation to make more videos for you guys so that we'll keep acquiring the knowledge and wisdom from each other. So till that time, take care and bye bye.